Hey guys, welcome back to Mrs. G's Sewing Space. I know it's been a while since I've put out a video. For those of you who don't know or might be new to the channel, I am currently a student in school, and so I'm trying to be in school and do this at the same time. So I was gifted this sewing kit from my grandfather, and I wanted to share this with you as I try to get back into a schedule to make videos again. So my dad sent me this box. It was from like I said earlier, my grandfather. He was in training to be a tailor, or an apprentice to be a tailor, before World War II. And then World War II happened and it took him down a different path. I'll have to ask my dad more about that, as a matter of fact. I want to learn more about my pop. That's what we called him. We called him Pop as we went through, as we were growing up. So in going through this sewing kit, you have your normal things like your needles and thread. But as you see here, that was a Gillette razor blade, which would have been used to pop seams and stitches. I really liked this needle package because it was old and it still has good needles in it for use. But I was intrigued and appreciative of the labels on here on the inside, which is holding the needles, as well as the outside. You could tell it's really old, and the fact that it's like 5 to 10 cents, or sharps, yeah, 5 to 10. So those were cheap. Well, cheap nowadays, but I'm sure they were expensive then. But just having those needles, that label, and a separate hobby I have on bookmaking and art journaling, that would have been an awesome label. So I probably will scan that and save that to PDF and use them in my art journals for little labels like that. I love that type of stuff too. Going through, you see the snaps there, which is used in dressmaking. And then we have here this blue box which held all his pins that have actually spilt out all to the bottom of the toolkit. So some of the small ones I'm picking up here, I'm going to have to go back and clean those up later. They're all at the bottom of the sewing kit here, so I'll clean that up later and put all those pins back so I don't stab myself in the fingers. Now, what I did see here that I thought was interesting was these 3 thimbles. This one I love because it has that ridge right here on the edge, so that way when you use it, your needle won't slip off. That ridge holds it in place so that we can keep your needle there and continue going on. So that was an older thimble. This one looks a little newer, just as used, but a little newer. It doesn't have the ridge at the top, and it doesn't have any fancy decorations or anything like that. And I was thrilled to have these extra thimbles. It did have a label on the side, but I can't read it in real life, and I can't read it on the video either. But I did notice that there was something on the inside of that first and last thimble. I'm going to move my light over here in a second to see if I can show you guys on the inside. And I didn't know about this, but apparently thimbles, not thimbles, have sizes, and I did not know this. So this particular thimble shows you it's a size 12, 18 millimeter. So I don't know if 18 millimeters is like the width and size 12 is just the size. I'm not sure how that works, but I thought that was interesting. So at least I know how big the thimble is, I guess, what size it is. And this is my favorite because it's unique. To me, it looks older. I mean, I couldn't tell you for certain, but because that little wreath of leaves and berries around the bottom of it, to me, dates it, but I couldn't tell you. But you can tell looking on the inside, it's been used, and it looks like a size 10, or at least I see a 10 there at the bottom, so I'm assuming that's what size it is. But I'm glad I've got those to add to my collection. What sewer doesn't hoard something, whether it's needle or thread or thimbles or fabric? It's probably the biggest one, is all the fabric that we hoard. And then of course in a normal sewing kit you have your pencils and your safety pins and things like that. So some of this stuff is kind of obvious as to what's in here. But I did just want to let you guys know that as we go through and I'm describing what the kit has in it, that things are going well here at Mrs. G's Sewing Space. Just been super busy. Kids have been getting back into school and, you know, just preparing the household for the end of the year. I can't believe it's already the end of August. You know, we're about to, in like what, 2 weeks, I think it is. 2 weeks will be in September, so that's September, October, November, December. So 4 more months until the end of the year. We're back in 2023. Isn't that what next year is? 2023. I'm totally dating this video for anybody who's watching this in the future, but it's exciting. We have big plans coming up, and lots of stuff that I want to do, and plans. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a small YouTuber, so it's not going to be anything dramatic, but you know, things are going to be happening next year, and I'm going to get busy again. But of course, I'm in school too, so that's always going to be busy. But I'm going to definitely do my best to keep the videos up. So right now, I'm looking at his dressmaking chalk, which you can tell has been well used. And I believe it's the same type of chalk. I thought it was soap in the beginning, but it's not. It's a dressmaker's chalk. And you can tell he has really used it. And it's probably about the same size as the one that I had in my hand, which is what I use. Then you have your needle threaders, more Velcro and safety pins. And yeah, good times for all this stuff. Buttons and screws. Why is it our sewing kits always attract the weird miscellaneous type of stuff that doesn't even belong to sewing? Or maybe those screws belong to some sewing gadget that I don't have. He does have a couple of needle threaders, which are awesome. I could always use more needle threaders. And then I believe, and I know it's fuzzy right now, I'm going to try to get it into focus. I believe that this is like some adhesive hemming tape or iron-on hemming tape. I think that's what all that is. And there's another one down there. So this looks like some sort of twill bias tape. And going into the bottom is where the good stuff comes up. Measuring tape, you definitely need that. The retractable measuring tape, which is awesome. Always could use a good retractable measuring tape in your sewing kit. I have like 4 sewing tapes. One sewing tape that I have, my husband bought me. He went out to a different country, and he was looking for a unique sewing tape to bring home to me. So I have it on one side where it's let me see, I gotta go grab it while I'm recording here. It's like centimeters on one side and millimeters on the other side, I think it is. It doesn't have inches on it at all, which is kind of funky. I'm like, it's really cool. But he ended up going to a store and purchasing, I take that back, he didn't even purchase it. The lady had it around her neck and just gave it to him. So he didn't even buy it. It was given as a gift. And I'm like, he brought that home with that story. I'm like, okay, well, I will appreciate that person forever. What I'm currently looking at is a booklet or pad. I'm not sure what they're called, but it's for all the needles. And because it has the name Julia something on the front of it, I don't know where he got it from. I'm assuming it was given to him from somebody else who had been a seamstress or sewer. But it's so full of all these needles, and I really like how everything's labeled. So like that top one was sharps, and you have the little paper adhesive labels there, like carpet, sharps, bodkins, double long darning, and then straw, embroidery, rug, chenille. It's nice to have all that stuff separate, but I think I just love that needle pad, needle book. I'm not sure, I don't remember what it's called. I know there's a proper name for it, I just don't happen to remember it. But it's made out of leather, which keeps all your needles safe, as well as keeps your hands safe so that you don't stab yourself 1,000 times with these old needles. But I love that. And thank you to Julia, or wherever Pop got that from. Now this is the big one, but I'm not going to open it yet, apparently. I don't know what this is. This had some sort of like a vinyl plasticky side to it, and then it was cloth on the other side, and you can kind of see the shininess. I'm not sure what that is or what it was used for. The rest of this is just all needles and thread, needle threaders. As you can see, there's still some wooden spools there. I won't be able to use any of this thread, so I'll probably end up maybe using it as a craft. Have you guys seen those wreaths made with spools, needle spools? Oh, those are where all the pins fell. So everything from that blue container in the upper right corner is all down there. So I'm gonna go clean that up later. And that's a magnet, I think. I'm not positive what that is, but I don't want to get rid of it either. So there we go. We just have more thread, needle threaders out there in the bottom. I need to collect those. I see that I missed one. And so yeah, so we're gonna put those back. Unfortunately, I can't use any of that thread. It's not new, and the older the thread is, the more brittle it becomes, so it won't be less secure. And so you can't use any of the old thread. So unfortunately, we can't keep any of that. I might find a crafty project to do with it. Like I said, I don't know if you guys have seen the thread wreaths. Maybe I'll do that. But here's the prize. My grandfather's scissors. So his scissors were in here, which I absolutely love. So leather case, which is another thing that is awesome, having a leather case here. And you can see 2 pairs of scissors here on the inside. It's just a regular, about it looks like a 6-inch blade or so. Sears, so we know where he got them from. He got them from Sears. You can see the embossing there on the side. Very smooth. I'm assuming they're sharp. I haven't used them yet, so we'll see what happens with them. And then these other ones, which I absolutely love, is a working pair of pinking shears. So you see the triangles there in the blade? Oh, hold on, we gotta get it to focus. So there you go, a good pair of Wiss pinking shears made in the USA, and they're smooth. I have another pair of pinking shears that I got from my grandmother, but they are so hard to work through, so I don't use them. I keep them because they're my grandmother's, but I don't use them because they're so hard to open and close. And I've tried oiling them, but it's still hard. But these are super smooth, so you can tell he's used these a lot. So here we go, we're gonna put this to the test. So this is some scrap embroidery that I have. I'm making some patches currently, so I kind of needed an idea of how big the patches were actually going to be. So if you want to know, I got these are just the die lines, but these patches were picked up at Embroidery Library, and they're called the Patch Design Templates, I think. But anyways, they're at Embroidery Library. All you have to do is look up patch designs, and I think that's what they're called. You know what, while I'm sitting here letting you guys watch all this, I am going to get here on my computer and look at this. Wait a minute, it's not there. Shoot, wrong place. Other computer. And I'll look it up real quick before we get through this. So, but it's definitely Embroidery Library. I'll put a link below so that you guys can find it for those of you guys who end up hanging out all the way to the end here. It's definitely Embroidery Library, but I'll put a link down there in the description so that you guys can see it. So they have a whole bunch of patches, and these are the die lines, so I can figure out how big the patches are. This is like around the 2-inch, 2.5-inch mark. Those are really good sizes for patches. So I'll have another video coming down with patches so I can show you how I do that. I've watched a couple of videos. Let's see. And this was just some carbon paper that was there. There is writing on it, but I don't know. I can't tell you what it says. It's old people writing. They wrote differently than we did. Oh, so the patches is called a Patch Shapes Design Pack, 2.5 inches. So those are the ones that were there on the screen. And that's about it. I mean, that's it for my grandfather's sewing kit. I absolutely love it. I'm glad I got it. It's unfortunate that that he passed away, but it's been some years now. But I appreciate you guys hanging around for Mrs. G's Sewing Space. I will be creating more videos, so I have more things coming down the pike. I remember liking this video helps my algorithm so that we can get these videos out and we can grow the group. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.